the country to lag behind its counterparts in the sub-region. Therefore, we would like to thank all Liberians who voted for the candidates representing the powerful collaborating political parties and other independent candidates who are strongly against the misrule of the corrupt footballing president. And to those who still express faith in the CDC, we hope you can realize sooner than later that Mr. Weah and his handlers are force of great evil whose intent is to loot the country and make Liberians poorer. That is why they formulated the Make Liberians Poorer agenda, cleverly disguised as the pro-poor agenda. The last 3 years of the CDC-led government has made our people poorer rather than lift them out of poverty. We continue to rank amongst the poorest and most corrupt countries in the world. This entrenched corruption is sadly happening with the complicity and consent of the president. While all the problems we face today are not solely this administration's making, their gross ineptitude, carelessness, divisiveness have quadrupled the problems they inherited. This regime is sorrowfully reversing most of the problems, most of the gains we struggle as a nation to make since the civil conflict ended. As a matter of fact, the last 3 years have been nothing to be happy about. Many homes remain without basic necessities such as food, safe drinking water, electricity, and the roads to our farms and markets are nearly impossible for drivers. The Liberian economy took a nosedive almost 3 years ago, at the very beginning of this regime, but not much has been done since then to address the situation and give our population the needed relief. Unfortunately, Liberians have been living from one ugly situation to another. Things are pretty uglier today than they were at the time this government came to power. There is massive corruption, insecurity, non-existing healthcare delivery, increased maternal and infant mortality, terrible roads, and an economy in recession. Government officials are offering their professional services. Government officials who are offering their professional services to the country beyond party lines have now become the targets for mysterious killings and all forms of violence. The lack of proper management and massive looting and secret killings have sadly contributed to Liberia taking steps behind instead of moving forward. And no immediate steps are being taken to redirect the upward course we have traveled far too long as a nation. Liberians are basically struggling with the issues that caused our forefathers to declare Liberia an independent state in 1847. Fellow Liberians, distinguished members of the Fourth Estate, Liberians spoke very loudly that Liberia deserves better. Our chairman, Mr. Alexander B. Cummins Jr., and the CPP have asked you to make this government a one-term government. And we are happy that you have demonstrated the fierce urgency with which this message must be taken. Liberians cannot accept another 6 years of dishonest and careless government. We thank the Liberian people for the rejection of this government's blatant corruption, deadly socio-economic regression, and economic hardship, unexplained murder, state-sponsored political violence, the astronomical rise in sexual violence, and the rape pandemic, amongst others. Although we have stalled the Liberian people for coming out in an orderly and peaceful manner to express their views about the state of affairs in the country through the ballot box, we have observed a criminally organized and state-sponsored assault on democracy by Mr. Weah and his CDC. They are planning on breaking the elections in favor of their candidates, who have so far been massively and disgracefully beaten by the CPP candidates in Monserrato County. And disgracefully beaten by candidates in Monserrato County. Grand Bassa, Grand Cape Mount, River G, Bond, Lofa, and District Number 9, Monserrato County. We want to send this caveat to George Tapper Weah that nothing other than the will of the Liberian people will be accepted when the final results are announced by the National Elections Commission. Article 1 of the Liberian Constitution states clearly that all power is inherent in the people. All free governments are instituted by the authority and for their benefit, they have the right to alter and reform the same when their safety and happiness are so required. Therefore, we will not allow anyone to play with the will of the Liberian people, not even the partisans at the National Elections Commission. I read this over. Article 1 of the Liberian Constitution states clearly that all power is inherent in the people. All free government are instituted by their authority, and for their benefit, they have the right to alter and reform the same when their safety and happiness is so required. Therefore, we will not allow anyone to play with the will of the people of Liberia, not even the partisans at the National Elections Commission.
Amanda!
The failed propaganda that is being aired by the National Security Agency through Radio Kigali of Senseon is seriously threatening the peace of Liberia by calling falsified numbers that are manufactured under the sycamore tree to implement the mandate of the president and his officials.
Viva! 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 Viva!
This act of recklessness and broadcast of misleading information to the public warrants the immediate closure of Freedom FM before it causes irreparable damage to our fragile peace and democracy. We are calling on the United States Embassy near Monrovia, the United Nations, the European Union, ECOWAS, regional and international development partners to promptly advise the footballing president about the threat his plans of tampering with the results of December 8, 2020 elections pose not only to the peace in Liberia, but also the destabilizing effect it has on countries in the Mano River Union. Gone are the days when strong-fisted rulers would decide elections results from the comfort of their homes, while the rest of the people suffer the consequences of those decisions for years. Distinguished members of the Fourth Estate, fellow Liberians, the problems occurring in our homeland will only come to an immediate end or an immediate halt once we finally beat where and its gain at the polls in 2023. I read this again. Distinguished members of the Fourth Estate, fellow Liberians, the problems occurring in our homeland will only come to an immediate halt when we finally beat where and its gain at the polls in 2023. However, we will continue fighting for every Liberians, no matter where you are from or your religious belief you have. When any of us is touched by this regime, we will fiercely protect our rights through legal and political means. No one, irrespective of how powerful you think you are or what position you hold, will siphon public resources and go with impunity. We, the members and officials of the National Youth Congress of the collaborating political parties will remain unwavering, steadfast, audacious, robust, and firm in our fight for all Liberians. Thank you. God bless you. God bless the Republic of Liberia.